Are we recording, Paul? Welcome to episode 18 question mark of the No Rep podcast. I am your host, Evan Middleton. I'm with full names, please.
Full name. Danny Reshape.
Danny Reese.
Jordan Marcus Green.
Mark. Oh, it is Marcus, isn't it? Is your middle name Glenn? Gary?
Glenn.
It's not. It's
That's Patrick.
It's
Patrick.
Is it?
Oh,
Daniel? No, it's
Patrick
not. It's
Glenn.
Daniel
It's
Gary
Patrick. It's
Mulholland.
Patrick. My
Daniel,
communion name.
Patrick, Gary, Glenn, Mulholland.
Glenn's not the middle name. Is it?
No, it's on my bum though. Shout out Glenn.
We'll show that in the Christmas special.
Aye. I'll leave that story for another time.
How are we, Trips? I've not
Good,
been,
mate,
I've
good.
not been speaking to you for an hour already.
I know.
Yeah.
I've not really been chatting in the cyberspace world. I am good, bro. I am good. Last episode was quite fun. We did the She's a 10 but.
Mhm.
I enjoyed that. If you've not seen that, go check it out.
Yes.
It was actually quite funny.
on the YouTubes.
We didn't really speak much fitness whatsoever. It was just mostly taking the piss.
If you
Some-
stick around for the last 20 minutes, you'll get a bit of fitness.
Yeah.
Aye, not even.
Some episodes do need to just be brain rot though, don't they?
I think so. Sometimes it's
definitely.
just like I think about this podcast. Sometimes it's like, what would I want to listen to?
Mhm.
And it's like I want to be when I'm listening to stuff, I want to be entertained, but I also want to be educated as well. And sometimes like it's hard to weave the two, so sometimes they need to kind of be separate.
Well,
You know
at
what
the
I
end of the day, we're not just fitness.
Do you know
I know.
sometimes?
I'm just normal blokes.
Do you know
do
what I
you know
mean?
what I mean?
Sometimes
We
we'll
just
get,
do
we'll get
fitness.
halfway through an episode and I'm like, what the fuck have we been talking about? Like, why are people listening to this?
And then people do.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Shout out to the fans.
The fans, we have fans.
Shout out to the fans. There was a couple things that popped up in the news that we kind of wanted to talk about. Well, there was one thing that we spoke about in our break there that you and Paul
Our-
brought up.
Our interlude.
Yeah, the interlude about David
David.
We'll just leave it at that.
Badwillie.
David, oh, you can say that.
Can't say that. David Goodwillie.
David Goodwillie,
Yeah,
yes.
So give us a bit of a context to the story for those that don't know, because I didn't know a whole lot about it either.
It's not even really in the news or anything at the moment. How did we even... Oh, it's because we were talking about football stadiums in the last episode.
That's right.
And then we could have spoke about David Goodwillie. So basically, David Goodwillie was convicted of raping somebody years ago or whatever. Obviously, he's a footballer and stuff. Entitled. And
Titled arsehole.
and basically, long and short of it was he kind of, to a degree, rebuilt his career. Rightly or wrongly, should he have been allowed to? Who knows, right? But he started playing for Clyde for like 4 years or something, and then signed for Wraith Rovers. There was this big uproar about it from the Wraith Rovers fans and stuff. The women's team, quite rightly so. And then either his contract was cancelled or he was like offered back on loan to Clyde or to sign back for Clyde, and then Clyde, the people at the club, kind of again caused an uproar about him signing for them because he didn't want him at the club. But the kind of argument that people were making were, well, he just played for you for 4 years, so what has changed in that time? So, what's your thoughts on that?
I was just kind of googling them there just to try and get a bit of context. It's definitely it's a difficult topic of conversation when someone comes back, because obviously
Yeah,
if he's been convicted for such an act, he deserves to be punished and punished to the
100%.
high heavens. But does someone deserve the right to come back to try and rebuild their career again? And it's strange. I feel it's very, very difficult. And it's like, does someone have the right to come back and do what they're doing, or do they just have to forever live in the shadows and, you know, and deal with what they've had to deal with, the consequences that they've kind of from their actions kind
Yeah.
of thing? And I think it maybe varies person to person, like, because some people I feel potentially could be rehabilitated and could have
Mhm.
realized that they fucked up,
Mhm.
and if they've served what the law has deemed to be the punishment for the act, then maybe in a way they can rebuild their career. But it's hard, especially with the thing that you're convicted for. I think with that, things like that or paedophilia, there's some acts I feel that are almost just unforgivable.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's a horrible act, man.
Yeah, there's some things that I feel that are just unforgivable. If it's something like he fucking stole motors or set a house on fire or
Mhm.
you know beat someone up because they called his mum fat or something like that. Like he did something where it's like you can kind of see, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
why you would do that. But for those types of acts, it's almost I feel like it verges on the point of no return for me. I think.
I think it's definitely in the way that kind of society is and stuff just now. Like there's no getting away
Nah.
from it. Do you know what I mean? Like and also, was he punished sufficiently?
Yeah, because I feel like that was
Do
a
you
quick
think-
turnaround. What was his what was
Do you
his
think?
time
I don't
spent in
even.
jail?
This is the thing. We don't not even really because it's literally we just spoke about it just there. Another question: do footballers get off lightly?
They get the same treatment as
In the
anybody
eyes of the
else.
law?
Well,
Did celebrities in general?
what's the Man U player? Fuck, they just happened like last year.
You know, run over somebody?
No.
Is that
And
somebody
there
else?
was voice clippings of him like pure, like pretty much raping his missus.
Oops, that was pure gasp. And not Marcus Rashford. He's a good one.
Nah, he's a good guy.
The fucking Greenwood, Mason Greenwood.
Mason Greenwood, right? Happened with him, right? And then there was the fucking everything's kind of kicked up, but now everything's been quiet. I don't know if it's still on trial and things like that, but I think maybe in the past, footballers or people in the limelight would definitely get away with a lot more. You look at the kind of Harvey Weinstein situation, you
Yeah.
look at all those types of situations that were going on that kind of
Jeffrey
feel
Epstein,
Jeffrey Epstein, that whole shit. I think
Harvey
that's a-
Weinstein. They're different guys.
Yeah, I
Different
think that's a
guys.
whole different fucking kettle of fish. But
That is.
they're complete different kettle of fish. But I feel like back then, in what those guys would call the good old days,
Yeah.
people could get away with
Good old
people
days.
could get away with a lot more
I
than
know.
what they do now.
Do you know what's annoying as well? You'll get some like football dads that will just be no, he's just a young boy. Do you know what I mean? He's just learning and all that. They would stick up for somebody like that.
Aye.
Which is-
Let's go. Uh-huh.
So,
Oh yeah, is that
Paul,
just
would our listeners have been able to hear that? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
so? I think I've seen it. Is that on Wikipedia? Aye.
Awesome.
The women
Cheers,
took
Paul.
civil action in 2016, so the act happened in 2011 against Goodwillie and Robertson. In the first case of its kind in Scotland, the judge ruled that they had each raped her and ordered to pay £100,000 in compensation. The civil case was judged on the balance of probabilities. Blah 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 blah. Oh yeah. In November 2017, 3 judges appealed to the court session, upheld the ruling against Goodwillie and Robertson. Goodwillie and Robertson both declared bankruptcy and have not paid the compensation.
Wow, fucking poor.
Scumbag
innit?
guys don't
Poor.
deserve to come back.
Yep,
Don't deserve to come back.
Jesus.
we've decided.
Yeah, this again, it comes down to like someone's character. Like, so if someone's character at that point in time has drawn them to the point of where they've raped someone, they're obviously a fucking bad person, right? But can someone come back from that and rehabilitate themselves? I feel like they can. There is scope for that.
Mhm.
If you're a scumbag like that, who like you've been fucking punished by something, here's the consequences of your actions, right? You need to pay this fine, you need to serve this jail time, and he probably didn't even serve his full jail time. Let's face it, he probably got out on good behaviour and then didn't pay the fine.
Mhm.
He's a scumbag bastard. Get him out.
Totally, get him out. We've decided.
Okay. What was the next time?
I don't want to play devil's advocate here because I hate all that stuff as
Uh-huh.
well. It's so there's not even devil's advocate here, but the thing is, see, unless you're there, you don't know what actually happened. 'Cause I don't think, or maybe they like maybe guys did, but
This is another thing.
so this is the thing. I don't think so. See, in that situation as well, just because they went out, I don't think they went out to rape someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it's not rape. Do you know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you would get some guys that would just be like that are rapers. And I don't know. Is that the word?
I don't know.
And they would like go out, and that's their intention.
Yes.
But just because that wasn't their intention doesn't mean it wasn't rape. Do you
100%.
know what I'm trying to say?
But
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're trying to say as well. And again, also, not that I want to play devil's advocate to someone that's been convicted of doing something like that, but there is a huge outcry of women that have accused men, women that have cried rape, women that have fucking cried wolf, and the shit hasn't happened.
Mhm.
Like it hasn't
And this is-
happened.
'cause
I'm not
we
saying that's
don't
the
know
case.
Well, because we don't know the evidence. We don't
I'm not
actually know.
saying,
it was
yeah, I'm
brought
not saying that's the
forward,
case
so-
in this situation, right? I'm just speaking
But
generally.
it does happen.
It does
It's
happen,
been
and I'm
proved it-
actually
it's been
aware.
proven,
I'm actually
like-
aware of a case of someone that I know that happened to. I
Mhm.
like I've heard of it. I'm not going to talk about it on here because I don't know the story well enough. But I've heard of it happen to someone that I know, right? So it's out there. That shit happens
Mhm.
out there. So maybe he's decided to say fuck you. I'm not paying that fine because maybe it didn't happen. Potentially, I don't know. But
Mhm.
still, if it's went through the eyes of the law, you would feel that they would have done a good enough job,
Mhm.
that they would have got the right conviction, whether it be
I would
guilty
think
or
so.
not guilty. So let's just assume that
You
he
need
is.
to trust the system,
Exactly.
don't you?
Yeah,
I feel that's a very grown-up conversation.
that was. It's a touchy subject too, as well,
It
because
is.
we do have
See,
a lot of female listeners also. So
all
we
my
need to-
clients are females. So
Yeah.
like, the thing is, the way I view things in life and stuff is I try and look in the middle at like both sides. And I'm not saying like, oh, I saw his side or anything like that, but just like the way I approach any situation. I don't just get caught up in my biases, or I try not to, and be like, oh no, I think he's a pig,
yeah,
right? Regardless, right? So, but I don't get caught up in, like, do you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I'm the same as well.
I try and be unbiased.
Well, this happened with the whole Andrew Tate situation, right?
Mhm.
Where, because I asked the question.
You
what-
were pro Tate,
yeah.
not pro
No,
pro Tate.
No, I am. It's not that I'm pro Tate. It's just that I like some of the shit he says. Right?
Yeah.
And then I had a discussion with someone, and it's like, well, would you agree with Hitler if Hitler said some of these things, right? Like some of the good things that I deem that Tate says. And I'm like, that's the fucking most ridiculous comparison of all time,
Mhm.
right? Of all time.
Mhm.
Like, you can't draw the same comparison between Hitler and fucking
You can't
Andrew
draw the
Tate.
same comparison, but then you're also like, but if Hitler says it's white when it snows, you'd be like,
Yeah.
aye.
If
Exactly. So
See,
you
if
just,
regardless of who says it,
yeah.
if Hitler
it's-
said you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight,
Yeah,
you
you would
wouldn't
agree
be
with him.
like all of a sudden, no, you don't because Hitler said it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fucking, it's like, so you just take the situation for what it is, and it's like people do get caught up in their biases, and you see people make these carousels of like, here's all that bad shit that they've done, but they are just as bad as the other guys, because they're just taking the bad bits and the fucking see the things he said, because there was a wee clip that they took, and it was like, I'm fucking saying like, you just grab the bitch and you just slap her and fucking, and then like, sex now, and he said something,
Sex.
right, and it was this like short and condensed thing of shit you shouldn't say, right?
Mhm.
Obviously you shouldn't say it, but it was part of a larger conversation, because he spoke about how men are stronger than women, and how men are more, what is it? I need to be careful with what I'm saying before I get fucking cancelled. But how men can fight, and women, how in his eyes women can't. And he's like,
apparently he can't fight either. Apparently he's a bit soft.
no, he definitely can fight. He was a fucking
It-
kickboxing world
He
champion.
does it. He looks so odd when he fights, though.
Yeah, look, it does look strange. It looks weird and slow.
He doesn't
doesn't
look
it?
he's going to knock someone out, and
And he does it.
he does. It's a bit mad.
I mean, this is so weird, but people pick out the bad bits
Mhm.
and everything, but people can also, he's ultra fans will pick out the good bits. No,
Aye.
here's all the good things he said about
Yeah.
women. And it's like, the shit he says about women is just fucking off, right? Let's just
Yeah.
get that stated
Yeah.
for the record, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't agree with some of the things that he maybe says about mindset, or some of the things that he says about business.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't mean that you support him, right? Just because
Correct.
I agree with something that somebody says doesn't mean I support him.
Totally.
Right? David Goodwillie could go like that. It's like you said, it's fucking raining outside. Do I mean I support him? No, I don't.
I just agreed with what he said.
I just agree with what he said. And people are unable to just look at that for what it is, and
Yeah.
look at the statement of what
Yeah.
it is. And then people have also said like, he's a rapist, he's a sex trafficker, he's this, he's that. And I'm like, see if he is all of those things, why is he not behind bars? If he is those things, why is he not being arrested for them? Or is he those things because the people on Instagram, the left,
I've said
the
they're made
left
out to be-
feminists are saying
Aye.
that? Like, that just means, like, it automatically means that it's true.
You can't believe everything you hear on the internet. Do
You
you remember?
absolutely
Do you remember when they said that Marilyn Manson took out his bottom two ribs to give him
So he
I
can
believe-
suck
jobs
himself.
I believed that for
for
years.
so many
man.
years?
Mate.
I thought that was true. I don't think it's true.
I remember as a fucking when you were a wee guy and you heard that and you're like, fucking
Aye.
hell, so it is possible.
Aye.
I just thought you had to fall
All
backwards
that
into the
break my
bath.
back trying to make it happen. And all I had to do was remove my two
Feet up
bottom
against the
ribs.
wall.
I'm gonna check if that's true.
That's not true.
Is it?
Aye. It's called- do you know what it was? It was like against goth culture.
Aye.
So when people were like, oh, he's a goth man, he removed his
Fucking
two.
goths.
Like everything that like people done, it was mad. It was a goth that done it.
What a
back
fucking
in the
did
day.
you say that? The bottom ribs thing? Was it you that said
It's
that?
me said it.
Mate, wow.
Blast for the past.
You have just opened up like
so
much
many memories.
memories. Aye, of talking about that. That's fucking hilarious.
Because you would go, did you hear about Marlon Manson?
Aye.
Fucking wow. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh fucking hell! In other news, I also seen this is kind of on topic, but I didn't bring this up with you guys, but
I hate,
something
when
I heard.
I hate when it doesn't pre-check.
Yeah,
What,
things.
oh, sorry. Did you hear Tommy Lee? Tommy Lee from like Pamela
Oh
Anderson
yeah,
Police
yeah.
posted a full frontal nude picture of himself on Instagram supposedly. It was took down, but it's out there. It's on Twitter still. Supposedly, it's out there in the world.
It says pictures of his Bobby not everywhere anyway.
Aye, but I mean on Instagram. So like just
Aye, just
posted on Instagram.
on
which
his
is-
own.
Why on his own Instagram?
That's against the community guidelines.
That is, so you get took down obviously, but
I mean, I tried to do it before and it got taken down as well, but
did you? No. It's a joke.
The Zoom feature's not strong enough.
come on, guys. Joan of Arc, right? So
Wow.
Joan of Arc.
Going
was-
back a bit.
Yeah, throwback. So Joan of Arc was reimagined as gender neutral, as a gender neutral hero with they, them pronouns in a new globe play. What are your thoughts?
Who?
You
Joan
don't
of
know-
Arc.
Do you know who Joan of Arc is?
No. No idea.
Me and Evan will just have this discussion then. Paul,
Please.
jump in for that and Danny's seat.
Swap
right?
in. Substitution.
What are you saying, Joan of Arc?
So,
Joan
a
of
new
Arc.
play reimagining the legendary leader Joan of Arc as a gender non-conforming hero who uses they them pronouns is to open at Shakespeare's Globe in London.
So I have two opinions on this. Right. Opinion one is that I feel that what do you say, gender neutral people and all that
Mhm.
should be represented in culture, comic books, shows, all this sort of stuff, right? 100,000,000%, right? Defos. Point two,
Mhm.
I hate changing like the original storyline of things.
Yes.
It was, so I'm a comic book fan, like big, massive.
What a nerd!
What a nerd, right? I have comic books in my house, and I love it. You okay? So, and Paul turned around. I thought I was going to say something to us. I'm sorry, Paul. And but I hate because the thing is, see if they made Superman like a lesbian, right? They're not doing it out of this is a good idea. We should do this. They're doing it to make like people happy, to conform.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Cultural.
What is it? I don't even know what maybe, right? I don't agree with it, right?
Mhm.
Because it's
You're not doing it from a place of this will be a good idea, or this, you're doing it like
Yeah.
you feel like you need to do it, which I feel makes it worse. Just do it because it is actually a good idea and it works instead of just forcing it.
It's dumb.
it's also dumb. But see,
It's fucking dumb.
the thing is as well, you're kind of insulting all of the I'm going to say Superman, right? All of the Superman fans of all the years that have fallen in love with this character and whatever. And I'm not saying Superman shouldn't be gay or anything like that, but he's not. He was never imagined in that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. I think it's you've nailed it there. It's an insult to the original storyline. Like that doesn't have to change, right? Because the story's already there. The story's already. It's not like we have to imagine it or make it up. It's like you haven't even asked for fucking Joan's permission. Like, yeah, by the way, can we just make you gender neutral all of a sudden? Like, it's bullshit. Like, I don't get it. Like, I am 100% for supporting transgender, fucking anybody. Do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't mess with shit that's already been there. Like, what purpose does that serve? What purpose does that hold? Like, who you helping doing that? Like, I don't quite get the reason behind it, and I just feel like you should just leave things as they were. Like, why was it
Why do you
wrong?
need to change it?
Why do you need to change it? make a new story. Create a new hero, right? Why do you have to fucking, do you know what I mean? Like, why can't there be a transgender hero who that is the storyline that it's about that can be built off of for years and years and years to come to help?
Yeah.
That could be the figurehead of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it was another thing as well where people were freaking out when they were potentially going to cast Idris Elba. There was rumours of casting Idris Elba as James Bond. So
A black James Bond.
can't have a black
Ridiculous.
James Bond. It's obscene, and that's a little bit different, but it's almost the same fact. It's like if you look back on the James Bond books, it was James Bond was initially a fucking drunk white man.
Yep.
A drunk Scottish white man who was fucking, I'm pretty sure he was addicted to heroin as well, potentially.
Potentially.
Maybe. And I think my dad told me in the books. Like, that's the type of character that was. It wasn't fucking Idris Elba. Like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit into the category. It's just like some things and some storylines. They're stories at the end of the day, right? And it's like they should
If you're changing the story, then it's a new story.
You're changing what it is. So just make something new.
And you know, I do think they need to develop over time and stuff, but I think they still need to be, to a degree, true to the source content. But like with change, there's only so many stories and stuff you can tell with, I suppose, white alcoholic heroin addicted James Bond. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
So maybe
we've not even scratched the surface, man.
With that guy?
With that guy.
We've not even scratched the surface. I just think it's just.
It bugs me because I think a lot of the time they don't do it for the right reasons. They're just doing it to like.
That's it.
But then also they're doing it to sell comics or sell shows or to sell this, and at the end of the day, it's a business.
This is the thing.
So
I would not have gave a fuck about Globe Theatre portraying Joan of Arc whatsoever until they have, you know, we're going to make it they them pronouns, right? It's like then it's going to spark interest and people are potentially then going to go see it. So maybe their motive is like, let's draw attention to the show.
Would it be that much of an issue, like, or even a talking point if they went, right, guys, we're going to make a Joan of Arc show, but she's a vampire? Nobody would care.
Nobody give a fuck. I suppose the they them pronouns is relevant now, isn't it?
Maybe even triggering to some people.
Yeah, like we are.
Us, apparently.
I know.
But not for the reasons you think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not for the
exactly.
reasons you think.
Exactly. I think as well, like the whole pronoun stuff, I find it odd. Hear me out. Hear me out. Like, because if I just say Danny and it's like, all right, he said, how dare you assume? And it's like, I feel like if you're someone that gets offended by me assuming your pronouns because Danny shows evidence of looking like a man, right? As much as some people may question that, he does, right? And it's like, but if he then all of a sudden goes like that, I actually am they them. Fuck you. Don't be an arsehole. That's rude. I think it's rude for people to just be like, how dare you assume? Like, do you know what I mean?
I actually agree with that.
It's fucking rude. It's just like, obviously I'm going to assume. Obviously, like, why wouldn't I? That's what you are. You know what I mean? And that's what biology has dictated who you are. That's the being in which you're fucking cutting about. And you don't cut about they, them.
I think, obviously, and again, I'm a privileged white male,
Yeah.
right?
How dare you have any
How
opinions?
dare I have any opinions? But like, see, if that did happen, like, and you weren't comfortable with somebody obviously saying that you're he, just be sound about it and say, look, I'm actually, do you mind doing that rather than being offended?
Absolutely.
And then then the reaction would be, well, from most people, I imagine, well, from me anyway, but I'm sorry.
Because here's the thing as well, right? So it's happened to every single one of us, right? Where someone has said the wrong name, right? Got sorry, Danny, right? And someone's called you the wrong name.
My
right?
mum calls me Cameron.
Yeah, right. Someone, right, whatever.
Cameron?
So say for example, right? Paul's name wasn't actually Paul, and we've been calling him Paul this whole time, right? And
He's
his
just
name,
never corrected us.
and he's never corrected us. But then say a week later he goes, you know what, guys, my name's actually Brian, and we go, ah, fucking hell, I am so sorry, right? He's not gone, I am not Paul, I am Brian. He's not said it like an arsehole.
And he's a very naughty boy.
Yeah, he's just said it like, guys, sorry, my name is actually, because I
Monty
had someone
Python
kept calling me Justin. I went, it's Jordan. And he was like, sorry, Jordan, right? I'm not going to go, my name is Jordan. You're not going to act like that. You would act like that with your own fucking name. So why are you acting like that with
You
a
would
fucking
just go-
pronoun
you would
that
just
you've
go-
just decided is yours?
Jordan. My name's Jordan.
Yeah, you would just say, oh, my name's Jordan, by the way. And they'd be like, oh, sorry, Jordan is not calling me Justin anymore.
Aye.
It's like, there's no need to be rude and be an asshole about it. You're just choosing to be offended.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I fucking, again, because I'm a white privileged male,
That's another thing. When you see these fucking feminists out there go like that, well, you're a white privileged male, and it's like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Why all of a sudden, right, did it become like the worst possible person you could be in this earth was a white male?
Yeah.
Because that's what it fucking feels like. Do you know what I mean? It's like, sorry for just being me. And then again, how rude is it that we are categorized as well and put into a pure, you're just a white man.
I think
you're just a white
every white man's the
Aye.
same.
Yeah.
I think
Is that not a
I'm
wee
saying
bit
it
racist?
from.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm saying it from like because I probably can't resonate with a lot of people. So like Jordan, you've experienced racism,
I have.
right? I've probably not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm saying it from obviously I can say what I'm saying, but because I've maybe not experienced it authentically. So see, because I don't identify as a pronouny person, right? Is that? I can't even.
But then again, do you not feel like as a white privileged male, you're allowed to say a lot less than the majority?
That's what it seems to be.
It seems like that.
That's
It's
what
like
it seems
if
to be.
we have to tread water a lot more.
But my opinions are no less or no more than yours, and vice versa. Just because we've came from different backgrounds and have fucking different colours, it doesn't mean that anybody has to be put on a pedestal. Everybody has the right to say what they think and what they want. But because it's like I think that people have swung so far left, like fucking too
So
far
far.
left. And I actually heard this
And
on.
it's no coming back. It's just
No, but I've actually heard this on Impulsive where Mike spoke about it as well. Things have swung so far left, you're going to have an equal opposite reaction when you see things swing so far right. You get the Andrew Tates of the world pop up, and it's fucking this
it's
cataclysmic.
then we have a big
people in it.
battle, and then
and everyone's cataclysmic. We're just going to swing past the fact that that's a really good word.
good word of that.
And like, we've just had this
You
fucking
said
like.
it wrong. It's cataclysmic.
That's what I said.
You said cataclysmic.
that's
You
the
just
same thing.
you said the same thing
No,
twice there, didn't
you
you?
said cataclysmic. It's cataclysmic.
You're just pronunciating one of the A's a wee bit.
You fucked that one as well.
Pronunciate.
Things have swung so far left, so far right. We're just gonna fucking like
Have a
things
big
are
battle.
so far apart. They're gonna meet the other side again, and it's just gonna be like fucking kaputs. You know what I mean?
Do you think it'll cancel itself out?
I think it's gonna get worse.
Do you think both
I
will
think it's going to get worse.
I think it's
from
gonna
both
get,
sides?
I think it's gonna get worse, and then for guys that are like in the middle, like us, like we see points from the left, we see points from the right. Well, I'm not
Yep.
speaking for you. That's me. I see points, right?
Let's say we all do.
I see
It's all
points
how
from
we're
both
on.
sides, right? I can see some of the shit from either end. So if you're in the middle and those two ends are getting stretched further and further apart,
Yeah.
we are going to be the bad guys because you've not picked a side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I genuinely do think in the war to end all wars, the left-right war, you're going to need to pick a side.
But why should you? I think that even all of your thoughts, ideas, emotions, fucking the way you act, the way you think, completely swings to one side. Like you're unable to think for yourself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
totally.
like if you agree with something, it's even just fucking a little bit more towards the middle. You're like, what the fuck? Get back. Do you know what I mean?
We are Switzerland. We're in the middle.
Yeah.
But we
Maybe a
can
little bit.
play devil's advocate. We can actually ask the questions from either side and be okay with it without putting our bias on it.
No,
We
but you
just
know what
ask
we
the
can do?
questions.
We can have a conversation like adults should and talk about things that are hard to talk about. You're not allowed to talk about Andrew Tate. How dare you? You support him. You fucking love him. It's like, whoa, fucking calm down, back in your box, right? You're allowed to talk about things. It's actually important. It's actually what's needed before this fucking shit just goes too far.
People are too scared to talk about like.
They are. People are scared to talk about the fucking transgender athletes competing in male sports. You brought this up on Instagram. Fantastic. The Irish Rugby Union
Yes.
banning trans
Have we
female.
spoke about it?
No, we not spoke about it in the podcast. We spoke about it personally. But like the Irish Rugby Union they put a ban on transgender athletes, male turning into female. I don't even know, is that the right way to say it? Yeah, I might get banned for that. But male turning into female to play rugby, 100%. That is fucking what should happen. They should not be allowed to play.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because you're playing a fucking contact sport. I would
Totally.
not want Hattie playing rugby against
Papa Ev.
Evan,
Right.
Evelyn.
Evelyn.
I would not want Hattie playing rugby against Evan.
Kick her
Evelyn,
head in.
look at the fucking size of him, right?
Right.
That's not fair.
But do you know this is so my thought process behind
Did
it.
it not
is that-
happen in the UFC, right? And
Not
like
in UFC, but in MMA.
And then
It
was it
did.
MMA, right? And it was. You sure it was in the UFC?
Nah, it
It
wasn't
was-
Are you positive?
positive.
Was it Strike
we were-
Force?
there was. I know who you're talking about though.
and he smashed the first maybe 4 or 5, but then a very fucking strong woman come up against him and kicked his cunt in.
Aye.
Like, 'cause the thing is,
So I
it
mean, it
does-
can happen, but the majority of the time,
imagine, is it Eben Etzebeth?
Mhm.
Right. Imagine Eben Etzebeth. Right.
It's Evelyn Etzebeth.
Evelyn Etzebeth. And
Put a picture up of Eben Etzebeth for people who don't know.
right.
who it is.
Imagine he decided, which is within his right, by the way.
Yep.
Right, to then transition or whatever and go, do you know what, I want to play female rugby or whatever. It's that people could potentially die. And that's not
100%.
even an overreaction, right? Because he fucking hits people high anyway, right? Imagine a guy that's 6'9", 6'10" or whatever, trying to like
125,
125
127 kilos.
melting somebody maybe like a scrum half or something that's 5'1".
Mhm.
That's ridiculous.
It's fucked
That's-
up. It's not. It's when people like lives are in danger at that point. Like the whole is it Ryan Lochte? Is it Ryan? No, it's not Ryan Lochte. I've made up that name. That's another swimmer. The female swimmer who was a male who's now winning everything. Non-contact sport, right?
yes.
So there is argument. I still don't agree with it, but there is argument that they can compete in that sport,
Yeah.
even
Yes.
though they're fucking obliterating the whole field, right?
Mhm.
Which I don't think is right. But whatever, non-contact, so you're not hurting physically anyone.
Mhm.
Olympic weightlifting, the Laurel Hubbard situation, she's not hurting anyone. She's maybe just crushing women's dreams of entering the Commonwealth or Olympic Games. But
Yeah.
that, whatever, right? Cool. Let's just by the by.
it's
Rugby, MMA, boxing, fucking no bueno. No.
Mhm. And see
Men
the
and
thing,
women
see
are
just 'cause we've-
biologically different.
see
You
just
can't be
because we've
putting
got
them in
opinions on this,
combat.
right? Like I've already had people say, "Oh, it was quite polarized. It was quite a strong opinion he's had on it from an old client,
Mhm.
right?" And I was like, and I literally was like, "All right, okay." As if like it was bad what we were saying, and we shouldn't have said it. I was like, "Fuck's sake!"
Aye.
Like
But then
we are just speaking with like, do you think all these people who organise events and sport and stuff are just idiots and just doing it to attack transgender? No one's attacking anyone.
No.
We're just looking and going, right, okay, actually, would that be safe, smart, or is it going to work out? Do you know what? From a physical performance standpoint, for a safety standpoint, for a making it fair standpoint, it's not going to be. We're just, that's all it is. It's nothing to do with you're less than or more than. It's nothing to do with that. And
Yeah.
people need to know that. Do you know what I mean?
Like
People
this-
need to remember that.
safety in any sport needs to be paramount. Swimming, non-contact sports and stuff, and even maybe stuff like tennis, fine. But not maybe
Not fine, but
from a safety perspective.
yes.
Well, safety
I'm
perspective, of
talking
course.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, the women will more likely probably get beat, but from a safety standpoint, yes.
But from the female perspective as well, and this is what I was chatting away with some, I can't even remember who it was, on the interweb and stuff, and is that women's sport has only really been getting the kind of recognition and stuff that it deserves over the past
This is a fucking good point, by the way.
wee while, right?
Mate, it was
So-
only until this year
They
people
weren't allowed-
started watching women's football.
They weren't allowed to vote till fucking 19,
Whenever.
whenever.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
not even far off 100 years ago.
So think about the kind of trials and tribulations, and over the years, that all these boss women have had to like experience stuff to then have Laurel Hubbard fucking nick their dream.
Fucking hell. I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Aye.
Exactly. It's like,
I'm just saying.
I feel men
Mhm.
are now starting to ruin women's sports.
Yeah, so it all comes down to us.
Yeah.
Fucking
Fucking,
greedy guys.
aye, exactly. Like, they can't just let
Can't
women
just-
win their
Aye.
sports. Do you know what I mean? Like, the guys have to come in and fucking try and ruin it and try and win everything. Like, it's I think it's fucked up. And like, you are actually more of a feminist if you are in line with transgender athletes, male to female, not competing in women's sports. You're more of a feminist, right?
Yeah.
Because you actually, like, you support women's sport. I have a daughter. I do not want to see her grow up playing against fucking Evelyn, right?
I would kick her head in.
Because you would kick her fucking head in because you're a large male and she is a small infant child.
She's literally a baby. Just
As
now.
it stands right now.
As it
That's
stands
right
right now,
now.
a couple of years she'll obviously grow up and do whatever, but it's just fucking, I don't get it. And I feel like I'm mad, and you're right. Like, people say, oh, you can't really talk about it. Can't really. Like, I feel like I'm going mad. Like, why can't we talk about that? I don't get it. And the thing is, it doesn't mean that we are saying all this that we're right. Also,
Mhm.
we might not be right. We obviously are, but we might not be right. But it doesn't mean that we're not allowed to talk about it.
Was it? It might have actually been Phil G that said something along the lines of,
Shout out, Phil.
"Shout out, Phil. Everything that you say will either trigger someone or inspire someone." Right. So it's gonna happen anyway. Do you know what I mean?
That.
So
I like that.
what we are saying just now, people will go, "Yeah, they're on the money," and then some people will go, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that."
Yeah, I like
Right.
that. That's cool. 'Cause you can
So-
take that with like sharing success as well.
Totally.
Because when I see people share their success, talk about their cars, or talk about money, or talk about whatever, I draw inspiration from that. I'm like, that's
a
fucking
lot
cool.
of people get
right?
jealous.
A lot of people get jealous, get triggered.
Mad.
But fucking, they just get that because daddy's money. They just get it because whatever. Like, you know what I mean? People do that, and I feel like if you're the type of person that draws inspiration from those types of things, you're a winner.
Mhm.
You're a winner. You see a transformation online, you go like that. Fucking hell, that guy's grafted for 12 weeks. Other guy goes steroids. That person's on steroids. That person's on this. You're a loser.
It's the lighting.
Yeah, lighting, fake tan, they just whatever. It's like they're only going to look like that for it. You're a loser. You're a loser if you talk like that. You're a loser if you lose that language. Again, in my opinion, I could be wrong. I'm probably not, but
Probably not. 70% of the time we said you're right.
70% of the time, I'm maybe right,
Potentially.
potentially wrong.
I just feel like I'm so focused, and you should be so focused on like the stuff that you're doing, right? To get so caught up, annoyed, angry, pissed off at things that are going on, like so simple things like transformation. You see it all the time, like people that I went through my list and I've had clients unfollow me, right? Old clients unfollow me. I found like 3 in the last, like just before I went on my holidays there, I was just looking at people that follow me. I was going to unfollow people that they're just pure, they tradey people, people that are tradespeople, and they're coming on and they'll try to get you by the
Forex traders.
all that shit, right?
Oh,
But it was
shit,
3
yeah.
old clients that had unfollowed me. And I'm like, I bet you it's just because obviously, and I don't care saying it, they didn't work out for them and they just weren't doing the things pretty much and they moved on. They're probably getting pissed off because they were seeing people win on the programme.
Do you know what's mad?
And unfollowed me.
I was
Do you know
having a
what I mean?
conversation with this, like with somebody the other day about that. Is
Mhm.
like not everyone's experience in our programs and people's
It's
programs is all the
identical.
same,
It's going to be the same.
right? But if it should be the same though, if you put the work in,
Mhm.
do you know what I mean? So see if
That's the reason we have the things in place that we have in place.
Yeah, so see if you follow the process,
Yep.
you'll get the result.
Mhm.
If you don't follow the process, you won't get the result, and you also actually don't have the right to be butthurt about it.
Yeah.
Let's
And this is
face
the thing.
it,
See the
right?
process that we have in place. 2 seconds is that it's not just there because we hope.
Mhm.
By the way, it is actually there for a reason. Like it is there because we've put extensive hours in to like actually put this into practice ourselves. Then with people, then through actually based off research. That's why we've done our college. That's why we've done our uni. That's why we've done our courses. Most coaches are the same. So yeah,
Let's face it.
I feel that something bad's going to come out your mouth just now.
What we do is not rocket science.
No.
It's not hard, right? It's not a hard thing to learn. It's not a hard thing to.
boiling rice is fucking.
I can never get it right. That's why I
get
just
it right, man.
I
It's
microwave. I buy
microwave rice.
microwave
Oh, I
rice.
did it
I don't
wrong.
even have a microwave, bro. I
Right.
just fucking chuck it in the pan.
That's strange, but continue.
Like it's not hard what we do. It's not difficult. Like the fundament, you break it down, right? If someone wants to attain a result, these are the things they have to do. It's not a hard thing. The hard thing is just consistently being able to do it and consistently changing the behaviors that you've kind of the mistakes that you made that's put you in the place that you want to get out of. That's the kind of difficult bit of getting out of. But it's not rocket science. It's not that there's this mad formula that you have to follow. You
No.
just have to consistently show up. Like that's all it really is, and it's not like crazy difficult thing to try and do.
No.
And I had a point I was going to get to on this, and I forgot. But essentially, what I want to try and get across is that people overcomplicate it. People think there is too much. People think there is like a fucking secret recipe and the silver bullet, the
Secret
fucking
sauce.
the secret sauce. Like people think there is all this when in actual fact it's not.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people also know this. So a large part of our jobs is just reminding people of the things that they already know.
Mhm.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean? It's like people know they have to exercise, for fuck's sake. People know they have to sleep enough. People know they have to drink water. People know they have to go get steps. We're just there to remind them.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking doing it, man. Just keep doing it.
That's the one. That is the secret sauce.
Yeah, the secret is there's no secret. But there was a couple questions we can get into before we wrap up.
Let's do the big question for the day, boys.
One of the ones I've got here is how to know when to take a rest day.
When you're sore, your performance has dropped, and everybody's doing better than you in the same room.
I
That's a
think
good point.
I think it's a bit of a skill to know when. It should be programmed
Trial and error usually.
into like your actual routine or whatever, right? But I find, and especially with a lot of people that I work with a lot of kind of class bunnies, or kind of what I would, or previous historic class bunnies, and it's double class today, right? Or spinning and then into legs, bums and tums and all that, and ultimately getting fucking nowhere like doing that. It's just totally overtraining, totally over. See, actually trying to say to them, right, stop training as much, focus on this stuff instead. It's like,
but then a lot of people don't train hard enough.
also there's
Right,
so many bits.
So
Lots of
many
bits.
bits, and that, for me, I will just offer me, and you can take from this what you will. But I can do 3 days, perform good day 3 days, and I take a rest day in the fourth because I know what happens. And recently, I've not, and I've done like 5 days in the trot. The fourth day, I notice myself that wee bit kind of not even necessarily sore at that point, but I'm just, my cardio's not as good and my strength's not really there. By the fifth day, all shit is like going wrong. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorer, I'm moving a bit slower, I'm getting knackered easy. So I know, like, my sweet spot, I know 3 days is, because of the things, I know 3 days for me.
The biggest fix I feel is if you follow a structured program, you follow a structured plan, you're not going to go wrong because it has program rest days in there.
yeah, do the things.
Then thereafter, if you just have workouts that you're following, or if you're maybe doing like CrossFit classes or Mazel tov,
Bless you.
you're maybe a class bunny, you're maybe at that stage, then doing fucking one on, one off, one on, one off,
Yep.
one on, one off until you find the routine. Like, nah, maybe I'm going to go 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. Then I'm maybe going to go 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. And then getting to that point where you're typically taking between 1 to 2 rest days per week is like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And even the best athletes in the world take between 1 and 2 rest days a week.
Totally.
And, then
And you
even on
notice
that,
it.
even on maybe session 4, they're doing something that's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
It's low impact. They're not picking up any weights. They're just moving, stretching, getting a bit of a sweat and then going. So I think that the best, like if we were to tier this, is like follow a structured plan that has program rest days in. If you don't have that, maybe start with 1 on, 1 off. If that's a little bit too easy for you, go 2 on, 1 off. If that's a little bit too easy, go 3 on, 1 off. And then look to try and take at least 1 to 2 rest days per week. I'd say that's pretty.
110%. Last wee thing on it is, I think a lot of people put too much importance from my demographic on the exercise itself. On exercise, they think, oh, I'm only making progress if I'm in the gym, right? Whereas it's, you didn't out gym yourself.
Weight loss and fat loss.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you can't put too much emphasis on that. There's so much more at
movement
play.
and diet, sleep, and all these other things.
But for me right now, exercise is probably one of the most important
Yeah.
aspects because I want to get better at gymnastics, at weightlifting. So a good solid training plan is actually
Totally.
a very high important thing. So it depends where you're at in your journey, what your goal is,
Yeah.
what you want to achieve.
You also don't eat like a child, so you've
No, I
got
do
that
not.
stuff like.
But this,
soft,
this,
do you
is,
know what I
the
mean?
this
So-
is the thing though, like, so yeah, does depend where your goal is, but then if you think about like, if someone's goal is weight loss, you look at like obviously the total daily expenditure, like chart, where the top 5 to 7%, that's the energy they're
Exercise.
expending in the gym, exercising. Where they're going to move the needle the most is through their needs.
Yep.
That takes what 10 to 15% of their daily expenditure. That's
Non-energy
going
and-
even me doing this shit right now is burning calories. So like do more podcasts
Yep.
to move your hands. You'll maybe lose
The
some
more
weight.
That's why
podcasts
you
you
always
do, the
find
more weight you
Jordan.
lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
so it
That's
does
why you always
depend
find
on.
Jordan in the toilet.
The toilet.
Why'd
moving
you
his
say toilet?
hands. Toilet? I said toilet.
He said toilet, didn't he?
You said toilet. You just said that.
Damn it, man.
Right, okay, carry on.
That's
I think
That's us.
Aye, happy days.
excellent. And it's me, isn't it?
Yeah, you cash us out. Remember to do the things.
You need to like the YouTube channel and the page with the Instagram. Hi, my name's Evan. What does he say?
Okay.
Like YouTube, subscribe YouTube. Love me tender.
Or Spotify.
Or on Spotify.
Apple Casts.
Yeah.
and also
we should pre-record
we'll
this
make
bit.
this a thing. Comment your favourite part
Yeah,
on
favourite part.
YouTube.
But the biggest thing is share it with a friend.
Share it with a friend.
We're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to make this the biggest podcast in the world. We're not far off, but we want to try and reach more people out there.
Yeah.
So share the thing, send it to your friends, send it to someone who also hates transgender people. I'm joking. That's a joke. Remember, we joke on here. It's all a fucking laugh. It's just a laugh. Share it with your friends. Love you all. Bye.
And remember as well, help the people that are close to you. We're the small guys. We want to get bigger. Help
Use
us.
the small guys. I'm not
Help
small
us get
guy.
bigger.
I'm the biggest one here. Bye, everyone.
Bye.